What's up everyone? My name's Dr. Mitch Rice, and today we're going to be talking all about the keto diet. As always, there'll be timestamps here at the beginning of the video, so feel free to jump around to whatever interests you the most. Today's video will be broken down into a few different parts. Part 1, we'll talk about the basic macronutrient food groups and what the keto diet actually means. Part 2, we'll dive into the science of ketosis and what's actually happening in your body on a metabolic level while you're on the keto diet. Part 3, we'll talk about what some of the scientific literature has to say about the keto diet, so let's get to it. So there are 3 basic macronutrient food groups, or macros as it's most often colloquially called. These are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Each of these macros have their own unique way in providing you energy to not only get swole, but also allow you to live every single day. So breaking down these macronutrient food groups on what is called the standard American diet. So the average American diet consists of about 35% fats, about 15% protein, and about 50% carbohydrates. Contrast this to the ketogenic diet, which has the proportions of about 70% fat, 25% protein, and only about 5% for carbohydrates. So now that we know a little bit about the basics of the macronutrient food groups, I want to talk a little bit about the science of ketosis. So the whole premise of the keto diet is utilizing your body's capability to undergo ketosis. And ketosis is basically your body's way of burning fat and using your fat as your primary source of energy rather than carbohydrates. So just to clarify this a little bit further, I just want to briefly discuss the basics of food energy and food storage in your body. So whenever you eat a piece of food, whether it's some broccoli or some delicious French fries, your body breaks down this food into glucose, which is used for energy throughout your body. Anything that your body doesn't immediately use is then transformed into stored energy. There are 2 major types of stored energy that occur in your body. They are glycogen, which is stored in your liver, and there are fats, which are stored in your adipose tissue, or those rolls that you just can never seem to get rid of. So how this relates to ketosis is as followed. When you don't eat something for a prolonged period of time, your body taps into those glycogen stores to be converted to glucose to use as energy throughout your body. Once those glycogen stores have been depleted, your body then taps into the fat stores that are located in the adipose tissue. These fats are then converted to ketones in the liver via a process called beta oxidation. The name's not important, but those fats going to ketones is what creates the energy for your body to use. And this is where the word keto comes from in the keto diet. You're in a state of ketosis. Literally breaking the word down, keto stands for ketones and osis is a process or a condition. So translating this to more practical terms, relating it to the keto diet itself, you limit the number of carbohydrates that you consume, which in turn limits the total number of glycogen stores that are made in your body. The limited number of glycogen stores available will kind of force your body to use the fats from the adipose tissue as your main source of energy. Again, your body does this by converting those fats into ketones. So I know I've kind of thrown a little bit of science at you, and you might be thinking, this is all great and fun and dandy, Mitch, but how does this actually apply to the keto diet? What are the steps that I need to take in order to know that I'm in ketosis and maintain a state of ketosis? Well, I'm glad you asked. In order to achieve a state of ketosis, one usually has to eat about fewer than 50 grams of total carbohydrates a day. That's really not that many carbs. Putting this into perspective, that's basically limiting your total carbohydrate intake in a day to the equivalent of about 2 slices of pizza. Now, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I have pizza, I really can't stop myself at 2 slices. It's just so good. In order to figure out if you're actually in ketosis, there's a couple of ways you can do that. From a more subjective standpoint, you can track the number of carbohydrates you eat in a day, and if you eat fewer than 50 grams, you should be okay and maintain that state of ketosis. Since this isn't always quite as reliable, you can take a little bit more of an objective approach in order to find out if you're in a state of ketosis. One thing people can observe and smell primarily is something called the keto breath. And this is usually described as a fruity-ish kind of odor, but only about 50% of the people in the world actually have the genes in order to smell what would be referred to as the keto breath. A second way, and a more common way that I see individuals doing the keto diet, is to use a urinalysis or a urine sample with a test strip that will identify the presence of ketones in your urine. So what does the science say about the efficacy of the keto diet? Well, there's definitely good literature out there that demonstrates that the keto diet is effective for weight loss. And this occurs primarily for 2 reasons. The first, and something we kind of talked about a little bit already, but when your body gets used to burning fat as your main energy source instead of glycogen, your body becomes really good and efficient at burning that fat. Burning the fat leads to a reduction in the number of adipose tissue cells that you have in your body, which ultimately leads to both fat and overall weight loss. And number 2, most of your meals on the keto diet are much higher in fat than you're normally used to consuming, and the higher ratio of fat content actually increases your overall satiety levels, or it increases your body's awareness that you're full. So you become more full with typically fewer number of overall calories. Fewer calories consumed in a day than you burn overall, either by your own basic metabolic rate or from working out and getting exercise, will lead to overall weight loss. Is the keto diet good for the brain? Research on this question is inconclusive, especially for long-term benefits. Subjectively, some individuals experience almost like an increased mental clarity and enhanced cognitive capabilities, whereas some individuals report brain fog, headaches, and an inability to concentrate. So how good is the keto diet specifically compared to other diets that exist in the world today? Well, no scientific studies have really been done to compare and contrast specific diets, and therefore it is deemed that the keto diet is just as effective as other diets out there for overall weight loss goals. In particular, the keto diet seems really good for individuals with type 2 diabetes. I won't really go into the mechanisms of why this is the case, but if you're interested in reading a little bit more about the keto diet and how it helps individuals with type 2 diabetes specifically, I'll put a link to one of the articles I've found here. So what are some potential problems or even drawbacks of the keto diet? Well, number 1, maintaining a state of constant ketosis is extremely difficult, especially in the United States where carbs somehow sneak into every single one of our meals. It's fairly easy to break ketosis and not even realize it. Also, when initially making the transition from a regular diet to a keto diet, people sometimes report something known as the keto flu. And the keto flu describes what it is. People usually experience some flu-like symptoms in the first week or 2 making the transition, primarily due to rapid water loss from the body, as well as some electrolyte imbalances. These problems will usually correct themselves after a given time frame that's different from individual to individual. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're interested in starting the keto diet, make sure you tune in to next week's video, as I will be discussing some of the best ways to transition from a regular diet to a ketogenic diet, as well as some major food groups that you can eat while on the keto diet, and then some that you want to avoid in order to not break ketosis. If you'd like to know even more information about health and wellness related topics, please visit my website at www.wellsci.info. Thanks for sticking with me to the end of this video, and I will see you all on the next one.